So we are working on some rigid transformations here, and I have a piece of paper that has a rough drawing of the lines that they gave us and the vectors that they gave us, just so that, and the figure, just so that we can focus without the drawings here, but I'll go back to it in a minute. So we have figure S that they gave us, and then they want us to move it along the line segment V, which I call a vector. But they want us to move it this way. And the easiest thing to do, if you're looking here, V, it shows you goes 1, 2. And so you're literally going to just follow that line and move everything 2 over. So 1, 2, you're going to take this point and move it over. Same thing, 1, 2. So you're going to have your point there. Same thing with this one, 1, 2, and that makes that point there. 1, 2 to there. 1, 2, and then 1, 2. So you had, it says label it A, you have figure A correct. Another thing that you could do, this is parchment paper. You could also use like tissue paper maybe if you don't have any in y'all's kitchen, but, or wax paper. Wax will just, it may smear a little bit more, but it'll all, you're looking for something that's just translucent that you can trace on top of basically. And so here is our figure, and it's probably easier to see on your copy because it's not quite as dark as what transferred over on the picture. So there's figure S, and then I'm going to keep the bottom left point because V starts right here. I can kind of see it under the picture. I don't know if you can in the video, but V is going this way. And so we're going to move it to where the arrow is. And so that's right there. And so we're just going to slide it along. And so that's where your figure A ends up like you had. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to reflect it across line Y. So reflection is like a mirror. So sometimes it's helpful for people to help visualize it by taking a mirror and putting it like this, like with the mirror side over here. And you can kind of like see, if you're looking at a mirror, you could kind of see it going back and forth to help you see where it's going to end up. But basically, one thing you can do, take your paper and kind of fold it where Y is about right there. Well, that's not exactly right. Y is over here. And so S, if you're looking, it's going to end up over here, which I think you've got it correct. But it's like, if you're not sure where it's going to go, it's going to go, you could even like put lipstick on that side and then like dab it over to see exactly where it goes. If you have your line, if you have your paper folded on your line, which I did not that time exactly. So if you wanted to use your patty paper, put your figure back on top of figure S, and then you do want to draw your line here, and then you want to fold appropriately on that line. I call it patty paper because that's what they call it. But this is parchment paper, but your tissue paper, whatever paper you were using. And then when you fold it, it's going to end up over here. And so it looks like yours is correct. And you could like even take your pencil and like put your dot and then move it back and put your dot like that. Another way that you can do it if you want to count, which this one is with triangles, so it's a little bit harder than it would be on a graph. And I know the next activity goes to a standard graph. Usually the end of course it's going to be with a graph, but if they show up like this, you can count it. It just is a little bit harder. And so I'm going to count over 1, 2, and 3 gets me to that line. And so I went through the center of the triangle, if you want to call it that. And so then go in the right side, 1, 2, 3. And so it puts me at that line. And so you do have figure B drawn correctly. But if you were having a little bit trouble, maybe that helps you think about that. For number 3, reflecting it across line M. So you can do the same idea. To me, this is trickier when you think of it like this, but if you take your paper and put it so that it is a vertical line, it's very similar to what we just did. And so then you could take your figure And you could draw a line here. And you could fold your paper over. And this at least would get you an idea as to where it's gonna go. When y'all are doing it on a graph, you may look up and get a couple of multiple choice questions and it says which one is closest, and they're all in different quadrants. And then you're like, okay, well, I know it ends up over here. And that might save you a little bit of time. But it's gonna end up kind of, and it looks like where you've drawn it. Y'all probably did some of these in class, or if you wanted to turn it like this, that may be helpful. So this point here is 1, 2 away from this line, and so I'm going to go 1, 2 over to here. And so I'm trying to be perpendicular to it as best I can. This line up here, same thing, is 1, 2 away, and then 1, 2 to here. And then you can keep doing the same thing to get your figure C, but it looks like you have it pretty close to the right spot. Let me see. You flip it over. Yours looks like it's drawn correctly. And then number 4 says to translate it along the line segment W. So this one is very similar to the V. But it is going to go a little bit further. So if you look, V was 2 sides of the triangle. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides of the triangle to that point. And so that's how you know exactly where it's going, all the way down. And so we're going to take this one and we're just going to go down this line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it ends up, I'm going to draw it in pen so we can see it a little bit better. And then same thing with this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all of these, it says rigid here, all of these should have the exact same shape. I guess I forgot this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. But the figure doesn't change shape or size. It should look the exact same no matter where it is. It may just be flipped over or turned, but that shape, it should still look the same there. So if it doesn't, then you've done one of them wrong. Like if you ended up with one up here and you had a shape where it was more like this, and it doesn't look the same, then that's where you know you've messed up somewhere. Okay, so that's the first part. It says to translate it along line segment W and then reflect it across Y. Okay, so I'm just going to use my shape that I've already used here. If I reflect it across Y, Y is this line. And you're going to take it and flip it over here is kind of where it's going to end up. And if you'll notice, this part of the figure is on top of the line that you're reflecting it across. And so that means it's not going to change. They're going to actually be sharing it. It's kind of like a butterfly where that part's going to stay stationary and it's going to be connected. And so you have it drawn correctly. You have this part up. It looks like you labeled it as G. So that part looks pretty good. And if you're not sure, you can kind of take your piece. I'll fold it on that line right there. But you can take it and flip it over. And if you look, it looks like what you had drawn. You don't have to fold your paper. If you know that it's going to start right there, then you can just flip it over and kind of position it to make sure that you're accurate. I like the patty paper because my shape stays the same and then I can move it around. So it says, how are the images the same? How are they different? They're all the same shape and size. They're congruent. The only difference is the position relative to where they started. Some of them have rotated, where like they turn. Some of them have reflected, they flipped over. And I think that's really all that we really, and we translated, but just move it around the paper. So hopefully that helps with that page.